Hey everyone, Chris Russell here. Time for another job board secrets interview session where we talk to industry job board professionals. Look us up on YouTube or learn more at jobboardsecrets.com. Today I am joined by Mac Prichard. He's the founder of MacsList.org, a long-running job search resource serving the Pacific Northwest region. He's also a former client of mine. Mac's site is a great example, I think, of a local job board that has done a great job over the years of helping people find work in their local market. And today we'll dive deeper into that business and his story and how he succeeded over there. So Mac, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Chris. It's an honor.
Oh, awesome. No, honor's mine. Give the viewers a quick short history of your business. When did you start, and kind of walk us through that story.
Well, I've been sharing job postings for almost 20 years now, and I did it originally, Chris, as a way to network and be of service to people in my community. My background is in communications, politics, and government. When I learned, because I had 2 long periods of unemployment earlier in my career, the value of networking and staying in touch with others. So for almost a decade, Chris, I shared job postings with others just as a way of staying connected. And it became a part-time job. And at that, about 10 years ago, I turned it into a business. And I've been doing it ever since. It was a side project at first, but now it's a company that employs 4 different people.
Yeah, no, nice job with that. I'm always, the longer you've been around, the more successful you can be, and you've really stuck with it and, made a name for yourself on a local level there. So now I was reading your site on your about page there, and you have a mission up there. So what is the mission of the company? And you're also a B Corp. So talk about that aspect.
Our mission is to make hiring more human, and we serve both job seekers and employers. I run a job board, and I know the value of the listings that we offer, but I also know, Chris, as do all your listeners, that many positions, perhaps a majority of open jobs, get filled through referrals, through word of mouth. Sure. And many job seekers, they think that the only way to look for work is to look at sites like mine. They haven't invested time in learning job hunting as a skill. So our site has invested a lot of time and effort over the years to teach job seekers job hunting skills through articles, guides, free online courses, and a weekly podcast. We also help employers with the hiring process because many of our customers are small organizations. Hiring is not a frequent event. It's usually assigned to somebody who has not been trained in writing a posting or managing an interview process. So we have lots of content on our site for employers about how to get good at those things because our mission, again, is to make hiring more human. And we find that when people have great job search skills and employers are good at the hiring process, both parties win. Job seekers find positions they can love, and companies find employees who are going to thrive and contribute to that bottom line and their organization's missions.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about both employers and seekers, that you have 2 audiences when you're running a job board or job search business, right? And you have to really concentrate on valuable content for both of them, right?
You do. You need to attract job seekers, and most sites do that through the listings, as do we. But I think, and I know you feel passionate about this too, if you're going to stand out among other job boards, you've got to provide content that is going to attract visitors and help build community. And it can't just be about content. You've got to find other ways to be out in the community. And employers matter as well. They've got their own sets of challenges, particularly the smaller organizations that we work with. They want to do hiring right. They just haven't been able to invest the time and the resources in learning that skill, and we help them do it.
Yeah. You mentioned community there, and I think that whenever I tell a new job owner today, I tell them, look, build a community around jobs. If you think about it that way, you're not just launching a job board business, you're launching a community, right? And I think you've done a great job with actually building your own community around, jobs in the Pacific Northwest. But just, talk about that aspect of it. How do you if you had to give some advice in terms of building a community, what would you say to a new job owner today?
Well, three things come to mind. One is you got to provide value, both to your job seekers and your employers. And you do that by providing great listings and great content, both about how to look for work and how to hire great people. I think the second is you got to engage with the community. And that can be seemingly small things like answering every email, responding to every comment on social channels. It adds up, Chris. Those are small steps. You also have to have a strategy, and that means picking the channels, social accounts rather, where you want to focus, where your community gathers, and providing a regular stream of content. Don't assume that people will find you. You've got to go out through newsletters, social posts, and other means and meet your community where they are. And the third thing you got to do is listen. Talk to your job seekers, talk to your employers, and ask them about their challenges. And it's I know it's business 101, but if you understand the problems of the people you are setting out to serve, that's going to create a great relationship. Don't go to them with your great ideas. Listen to them about their problems.
Yeah, very cool. No, it takes effort and consistent effort over time to do that too, right?
It does. Persistence really does pay off. And I've had people say, wow, this is what a success you are. And well, I've been doing this for almost 20 years.
20-year overnight success, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the people, I mean, whatever the business, whether it's job boards or another occupation, they show up consistently, and they learn and they grow and they evolve and they listen and they learn and they grow, but you just have to show up year after year.
Yeah. Now I know the pandemic has affected a lot of job boards out there as far as revenue goes and job postings. Could you talk a bit about how you've been affected and what you're seeing now?
Well, you don't need an advanced degree in economics to understand that when you have double-digit unemployment, there are going to be fewer job listings out there. And what's happening with us is not unique. It's happening to job boards all across the country, big and small. So after the pandemic hit, we did see a big drop in revenue, and we're still working our way through that. Candidly, the first month, it was scary, Chris. It was down almost 80%, I think, the first couple of weeks. Wow. Now it's getting down to about 50%. And so, but people are still hiring. We are still publishing 100 or more new positions every week. And for a niche site like ours, that's enough volume to keep several people employed.
Yeah, about 100 a week. So it's nice.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's but we were doing 250 a week before the pandemic.
Now, is that mainly small businesses?
It is. It's small and medium-sized employers in Oregon and Washington. Yep. And we do have some big companies who buy annual subscriptions, but our sweet spot is nonprofits, creative companies, public agencies. We've grown through word of mouth, and that's been very powerful for us. And that's where my professional network lay, and that's proven to be the foundation for our company. We're changing that slowly. We hired our first sales director almost 2 years ago, and we built an outbound sales program that's allowing us to strengthen our relationships with our existing customers, but also build new ties with companies that we just weren't able to get in front of before.
Yeah. Were you doing any kind of offline marketing before the pandemic hit at all, as far as outreach and sales?
Not directly. We did do a series of public events until last year for job seekers, and we typically would attract 100, 120 people to these events. They were usually in partnership with local universities and colleges in the Portland metropolitan area. The benefits of those events to the business, we were able to get in front of our readers, and then many of our customers offered to serve on panels as hiring experts. And so that helps strengthen our relationship while serving our community.
Yeah. How's traffic been lately? Did you see a big dip in traffic as well? Talk about the job search activity happening on the site.
We did see a drop in website visitors starting in March, and we've just about recovered from that. I've talked to other job board operators. I've heard that happened to almost everybody, at least those I spoke with. I'm not surprised it happened. I don't think this is an original observation. I think people who had jobs were just focused on keeping them. And most of our visitors traditionally, Chris, have been passive job seekers, people who are just curious about what's out there. During a time like this, people are going to focus on keeping what they have. And then I think those first 2 months, especially because the state employment departments out here and across the country too, were overwhelmed with unemployment claims. The visitors who might have come to look at open positions were just focused on getting their benefits in order and probably just recovering from the shock of being laid off.
Yeah, totally. What was I going to ask you? Talk to me about your technology. What are you running on as far as your software goes? Did you build your own job board? Do you outsource it?
I think my story is similar to every sort of homegrown independent job board operator. I didn't know about job board software vendors, and I originally was just using a very simple newsletter system, which was crazy. It was very labor intensive. And then 10 years ago, I decided I need a website. So I hired the boyfriend of somebody I worked with. He was a great developer. He built a site from scratch, and it served our needs. But every time we needed to change it, we had to call up this fellow, and he had a day job, and he did his best. But eventually we did move.
Story I've been hearing.
I bet you've heard that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we did switch to another vendor. We've been working with WebScribble for almost 3 years now and have had a good experience with them.
Nice. By the way, what's your two questions around traffic? What's your best source of traffic? And then how's Google for Jobs doing for you these days?
Our best source of traffic remains organic traffic. And, I think Google Jobs has been okay. Candidly, I don't pay that much attention to it. We focus on the outbound marketing. We find that the newsletters that we publish weekly are a big source of traffic, and the content is a big attractor as well. We have a weekly newsletter that with that week's new jobs that goes out every Tuesday, and that reaches about 17,000 people. We've seen the open rate go way up since March. And we have another newsletter for employers that reaches about 3,000 employers. And we find every time we send those newsletters out, we see a spike in visitors.
Okay. And how often do you send newsletters?
The new jobs newsletter is weekly. That's on Tuesdays at 2:00. And then we have a podcast about the nuts and bolts of job hunting. It's starting its 5th year of production in October. That goes out to about 3,000 people. That newsletter goes out every Wednesday. We publish a new episode every Wednesday morning. And the show has helped us attract traffic from around the country. The podcast actually ranks in the top 40 on the Apple's podcast career chart, and it gets about 50,000 downloads a month, which puts it in the top 10% of all podcasts.
50,000 downloads a month. That's awesome. How long? You said about 5 years. What's the show called?
It's called Find Your Dream Job. And every week I talk to a different career expert about the nuts and bolts of job hunting.
Nice. How much content would you say you guys produce on a weekly basis, Mac?
We produce
talking blog posts, podcasts.
Yeah. Altogether, Chris, it's It's about 75 pieces of content a year. So there's a new website article about the podcast interview, which includes a transcript.
Yep.
That's every Wednesday. We do a original blog post once a month. We've been focusing on hiring practices. And then we do what we call job search success stories, Chris. Every month I talk to, on the podcast, a different job seeker who found a job they love. And then also once a month, we invite people who have told us they found a job they love to write an article. We have a big catalog of content. We've been creating content.
You've been around for so long, you don't need to create a lot of content at this point, I guess.
Well, we don't, though I think it's important to have something new at least once a week. But when we relaunched the website about 3 years ago, and as part of that, we went back and looked at a lot of old content that had been written since 2010, and we compressed a lot of stories. We let some stories go, but we still have hundreds and hundreds of articles.
Nice. I also saw you had a couple courses on there, some of which are paid courses for job hunters. Do those make decent money for you? Are you how's that strategy been as far as a revenue source?
It has brought in revenue. We launched a paid course about 3 years ago, and we had some success with it in the beginning. Candidly, one of the lessons I learned is if you're going to do that, it's, as we talked about earlier, you've got to be consistent and show up for a long time before you'll see the kinds of returns that we get from our job board revenue. Yeah. So we haven't turned off the courses, but we're investing our marketing efforts right now in promoting the job board. And so the courses and affiliate income account for less than 10% of our overall revenue.
Yeah. I think, having a course on a job board is a good, additional revenue source for people. There's a user platform called Teachable, which is a great platform. You can white label and charge for the course on there. So you've got interview answers, crash course, job interview essentials, how to woo employers online, and hacking the hidden job market. So those are good topics, I think, overall.
Yes.
Did you write those? Or?
We did. And 2 of those courses are free, and they're a way to both serve our community and engage them. So many people will sign up for the free courses and then sign up for the newsletters, and they helped us attract and grow our audience.
Yep. What does Teachable cost each month to have that, by the way?
I don't, but I think it's less than $20 a month. It's a pretty minor fee.
Yeah, nice. Awesome. You mentioned you hired a sales guy when he, about two years ago, you said?
Yeah, so she joined us about 2 years ago this fall.
Sorry, I should say salesperson. But what kind of were they doing cold calling? Give me a sense of how you wanted them to go out and prospect for the site itself. Do you have any thoughts around that?
Well, a couple of things come to mind. First of all, one thing that happened when we hired her is that we looked at our products, and in those days, more than 2 years ago, we were simply selling duration posts and multi-packs, which is, I think, where everybody starts. And with her help, we added subscriptions and custom packages and employer upgrades. So we diversified our product range, and that gave us the opportunity to offer more services to our employers and, frankly, to diversify our income. And in terms of targets, because we'd never had a sales director before, Chris, it's kind of embarrassing to admit this, we had a long list of people who had bought from us that we hadn't gone back and talked to. So our first priority was to reconnect with our customers who perhaps hadn't purchased from us in a while, because it's hard to get a customer, but once you get one, obviously it's easier to keep them. Yeah. So that has really been the focus. of her work is building relationships with those customers, going back and looking at what people had spent and identifying opportunities for people to actually save money, because people were buying single posts or 3 posts at a time, and they weren't thinking about their total annual spend. So she was able to go back and say, well, look, we ran the numbers. We're grateful for your business, but if you sign up for the subscription, you'll save X number of dollars rather than buying them post by post. And we'd much rather have an ongoing relationship with somebody who locks into a subscription package than risk not having somebody come back if they're just buying post by post.
Yeah.
The other third thing I would add is that we worked hard to build our relationships through providing content with those 3,000 employers. And so they now get a monthly newsletter from us. And then depending on their needs, we can sign them up for special email sequences that will provide them with useful information that will help them with their hiring.
Yeah. Do you use a CRM?
We do. We use Infusionsoft.
Infusionsoft. Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, Mac, it's been great talking to you. Appreciate all the knowledge dropping here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, no, I wanted to get some, job owners on and just let other job owners hear what people like you have to say. So any other, what's one job board I should talk to as well that you know of that I might make a good guest?
Oh gosh, what a great question. I'm drawing a blank, Chris, but I'll send you an email. Let me think about that. Oh, I know. You should talk to Andrew Hudson in Denver, Colorado.
Andrew Hudson sounds familiar. What site is his?
He used to call it Andrew Hudson's PR Jobs. I think now it's just Andrew Hudson's Jobs. But Andrew is like me. He worked in politics and communications. He was a communications director for a U.S. Senator in Colorado. I worked for a governor here in Oregon, and we're both inveterate networkers. So he was sharing job listings just like me, and he turned his into a business, I think, in the early aughts. And he's a good, smart fellow, and it's a regional job board like mine that serves employers in the Rocky Mountains with particular strength in Colorado.
Oh, awesome. I'll check it out. Andrew Hutchins or Hudson?
Hudson, Hudson. I'm happy to do an introduction after the interview.
Yeah, sure. That'd be great. Well, Mac from MacsList.org. Thanks for coming on Job Board Secrets today.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
All right. Have a good one.